2024 movie horror. Never let go. Two children have lived in this isolated forest since childhood, because their mother said the outside world has been destroyed by monsters. Only this cabin in the woods, covered in scriptures carved by their ancestors, can protect them. When searching for supplies, they must tie a rope to themselves before going out. The other end of the rope is tightly tied inside the room. This way, they are always under the protection of the cabin. Their mother sternly warned them never to let go of the rope under any circumstances. Originally, the two had always strictly followed the rules, but an accident happened during this outing. Because the rope has a limited length, they can only hunt nearby. This has also led to fewer and fewer supplies around. Nolan searched for a long time but found nothing. But then he saw a bird's egg not far away, and hurried excitedly to pick it up, only to find that the rope had reached its limit right there. So close, yet unattainable, it made Nolan very impulsive. Ignoring his mother's rules, he planned to untie the rope directly. Fortunately, his older brother, Samuel, who was walking over, saw this. He immediately stopped Nolan. Nolan said he only needed to let go for a few seconds to get the bird's egg, but the timid Samuel refused, saying they could mark the spot and tell their mother, who could connect the ropes, to increase the length and then come back for it. Nolan had to leave reluctantly. Annoyed, he decided to play a prank on his brother, and stepped on the rope behind him. Unexpectedly, Samuel tripped on a hunting iron, breaking the rope and rolling down the hillside. His sprained ankle made it impossible for him to get up. Nolan didn't expect things to turn out like this. He quickly blew the whistle to call his mother. Hearing the commotion, Anna quickly ran towards the source of the sound. But at this moment, strange hissing sounds appeared in the woods. Worried, Nolan ignored those, and immediately untied the rope and ran down. But the two who were helping each other didn't notice a lizard man constantly spitting apricots, slowly approaching. Anna had already arrived nearby, but she came running from another direction. At this time, the rope had reached its limit. Seeing the children in danger, she anxiously cut the rope with a knife. Then she rushed forward, and pulled the two who were about to be caught up the hillside. Then she quickly picked up the rope, and tightly wrapped them together. Finally, they escaped the chase before the monster got close. But the bold Nolan opened his eyes and looked, but saw nothing. Only Anna was like a lunatic, sitting there anxiously. This made him question his mother for the first time. After returning, Anna immediately violently pressed the children onto the room-covered floor, and made them touch the floor with their hands. She made the two quickly touch the floor as if she would kill anyone who didn't obey, as if she would kill anyone who didn't comply. Although the children were extremely puzzled by this action, under their mother's coercion, they obediently did everything. Not only that, everyone had to stay in the storage room under the floor for a while. Anna seemed to see their confusion. Explained at dinner that the monster can not only transform into any form, but can even possess a human body and control the host. In that case, the other party could sneak into this cabin. Out of caution, she had to make the two prove themselves, and the storage attic has the divine power to destroy monsters. But even so, Nolan still had doubts. When sleeping, he asked Samuel if he saw anything during the day. That was the first time we ever let go, and nothing changed. Samuel said it was just that the monster didn't catch them. Nolan immediately retorted, if it was really as his mother said, why didn't the dog at home need to be tied up with a rope? They eat what doesn't care about animals. Nolan, who was discussing without any result, stopped arguing, and decided to find out the truth himself. But that night, Anna was startled by Nolan, who suddenly appeared behind her. She was startled. He just stood there blankly, not responding to his mother's questions. Seeing this, Anna quickly put her son back to bed. It turned out that Nolan suffered from sleepwalking. Today's sudden situation made him forget to tie the bell to his feet. Fortunately, he was discovered before he walked out of the house. Soon, as their supplies dwindled, it was time to go hunting again soon. But Samuel's foot injury hadn't healed yet. Coupled with the previous incident, Anna decided to let the two children rest at home this time, and go out alone. She directly connected the 3 ropes together, so that she could greatly increase the range of activities. But just as she was about to hunt the crows in the forest, she saw them bowing their heads and gnawing at a corpse. The next second, the bloody Nolan slowly turned his head. When Anna looked again, she realized it was just her hallucination. She quickly raised her crossbow and aimed again. But then, out of the corner of her eye, she saw Nolan appear beside her again. Startled, the crossbow bolt also missed, scaring the crows away. Anna knew she must be worried sick, and having psychological problems. There was no way. Unable to hunt, she could only scrape some bark, fry it until crispy and dip it in the sauce. But this little thing is not enough to fill the stomach at all. And because Samuel was injured and couldn't go far, Nolan had to endure it and pick bark with his family. Picking bark. But at this moment, he suddenly felt a figure flash past him from behind. But when he looked back, he saw nothing. What's even weirder is, his mother and brother, Samuel, disappeared strangely. And just as he was about to look around, he saw the bell hanging on his ankle. But Nolan clearly remembered that he only wore it when he slept. And before he could figure out what was going on, the next second, It turns out that everything just now was just Nolan's dream. Sleepwalking, he went out again in the middle of the night. But what's scarier than the dream is that he wasn't tied up at this time. Nolan immediately looked around in horror. The dark woods. But after observing for a long time, nothing unusual appeared. But the next second, Anna rushed out and carried him back. Then Samuel was awakened by a chanting sound. Only then did he know that his younger brother had sleepwalked outside. Soon Nolan was thrown into the grid. The icy breath made him cry out, Mom. But Anna turned a deaf ear after hearing this. She didn't open the wooden board again until the time was up. But Nolan had already wet his pants. At this moment, Nolan's heart was full of humiliation. He even began to hate his mother. Anna also knew that her behavior was a bit excessive. She went back to her room and took out her camera, which she had treasured for many years. She told the two of them the principle and how to use it, saying that this thing is a product before the destruction of the world. The photo paper inside can take one last picture. She wanted to give this right to the two brothers. Children, instantly attracted by this novelty they had never seen before. Attracted. Nolan immediately forgot his resentment towards his mother. But then, her words completely ignited his anger. Anna said that she hadn't hunted any food for a long time. The remaining supplies are not even enough for people to eat, let alone feeding pets. So she planned to kill the dog. This way, not only can she get food, it can also reduce consumption. It's also considered as the other party, making the last contribution to this family. After hearing this, Nolan immediately got angry and quarreled with his mother. Anna thought since that's the case, it's better to decide by voting. But to Nolan's despair, his brother ultimately chose to side with their mother. Now, he was powerless to stop her. He could only watch helplessly as she dragged the dog into the utility room. But just as Anna was about to start, Nolan appeared behind her with a machete. He had long suspected that his mother was mentally unstable, and decided to personally verify it and make her face reality. Ignoring her pleas, he slashed the rope with one swift motion. Then he immediately stepped forward and closed the door, locking her inside. Anna desperately begged her son to open the door, but Nolan, resolute in his decision, remained unmoved. Becoming increasingly agitated, she immediately started smashing the windows frantically. Hearing the commotion, Samuel also ran over and knocked her to the ground. The two immediately began wrestling on the floor. Meanwhile, Anna quickly picked up a stool and smashed the glass, ready to climb out. But she suddenly heard a strange call from behind her. The monster had somehow appeared behind her. It said it would possess Anna and make her kill her own children. Anna was filled with despair upon hearing this. Terrified, she would rather kill herself than allow that to happen. Seeing his mother slowly collapse in a pool of blood, Samuel stopped fighting and quickly opened the door. Although there was no trace of the monster in the room, Nolan, guilt-ridden for causing his mother's death, picked up the rope and tied it around himself. And without Anna, the two couldn't even maintain basic sustenance. Looking at his starving brother, Nolan resolutely took on the responsibility of hunting. He also followed his mother's example and tied 3 ropes together. But even so, after searching for a long time, he still couldn't find much food. But with his increased range of movement, he also first, once out of the woods. This is also the limit that 3 ropes can reach. Looking at the distinctly different flat road on the ground, Nolan, it is obvious that this road is man-made. Thinking of this, he quickly shouted for help, but no one responded after shouting for a long time. He could only return to the hut in disappointment again. But at this time, a person came from a distance. It turned out that the man was a tourist passing by. It happened that he just heard someone's cry for help. So he came over to see if anyone needed help. Nolan hesitated after hearing this. He had a vague feeling in his heart. The outside world is not what Mother said, but the long-instilled thoughts still made him a little flinch. My brother's sick. He needs food. After hearing this, the man said that he had food in his backpack, and the car was parked on the side of the road outside the forest. Can take them away from here anytime. But as he was talking, Samuel came out with the male slave. He believed that this person must be a monster that came to capture. Seeing this, the man quickly expressed that he had no malicious intentions. If the two don't want to be disturbed, he will leave immediately. As he said that, he slowly turned around and planned to leave. But the next second, Samuel shot the man through with an arrow. He quickly covered the wound and struggled to escape into the distance. Seeing this, Nolan hurried after him. It didn't take long to find the seriously injured opponent. At this time, the man was holding a mobile phone he had never seen before to call the police. There was also a voice of the operator asking questions. Although he was curious about this thing, but still snatched the man's backpack. Now the brothers finally don't have to suffer anymore. First time eating delicious. Nolan, who ate canned food, immediately devoured it. But Samuel refused to eat anything. Think the monster's food. There must be evil in it. But he still couldn't hold back the hunger at night. Gobble it up. Nothing happened, which made Samuel gradually begin to doubt. In the wallet, the photo of the man and his daughter made his heart even more shaken. And he also discovered for the first time, lighting tools other than candles. But just as he was sitting at the door pondering, he suddenly heard a noise coming from the utility room. Samuel hurried over to check, but found no one inside. At this moment, a sudden shout from behind startled him. The girl said she was looking for her father. Looking at the other person's face, which was the same as in the photo, Samuel finally realized that his mother was lying. He quickly said that he hadn't seen him, but the rope tied around him made the girl feel strange, and he also noticed the flashlight the other person was holding was his father's. Seeing this, Samuel quickly tried to explain, but as the light stopped shining, the girl finally saw Anna's body in the utility room. She quickly ran into the depths of the forest in fright. Seeing this, Samuel subconsciously chased after her. Even without monsters, the wild beasts in the forest are very dangerous. The two of them chased and fled like this, playing hide-and-seek in the forest. Soon the length of the rope reached its limit. Seeing this, Samuel, who no longer believed, finally untied the rope. But after chasing for a while, he found that the girl had disappeared. Then he saw behind a tree trunk not far away. A 6-handed thing slowly climbed up the crown of the tree. He looked up in horror, but the next second, the monster's tongue instantly darted into Samuel's clothes, then slowly drilled into his mouth and completely controlled him. At this time, the sleeping Nolan woke up suddenly. Only then did he discover that his brother was missing from the house. He quickly tied the rope and went out to check, but could only see a rope extending deep into the woods. Seeing this, Nolan quickly turned back, but until he pulled the rope all the way back, didn't find Samuel. He quickly picked up the flashlight on the ground, ready to enter the woods to search, but suddenly heard his brother shouting not far away. Nolan quickly ran towards the sound, but when he came there, he didn't see Samuel at all, and the next second, although he don't know what happened, but it feels wrong, he still ran frantically towards the hut. Fortunately, nothing happened until he ran into the doorway. He walked into the house with anxiety. Looking at Samuel sitting blankly on the bed, Nolan suddenly remembered what his mother said about possession. quickly grabbed his brother's hand and started chanting scriptures. But the next second, Samuel pulled out a machete and slashed at him. Nolan instantly realized that his mother was not lying. There are really monsters in this world. He quickly ran into the toilet and locked the door. But Samuel blocked the door completely with the bed. Then immediately set the whole house on fire. No way. Nolan could only climb out of the window and onto the roof. But the amazing height made him afraid to jump down. And Samuel looked at the scene in front of him wickedly. Looking at the ground, Nolan coming back into the house from the other side. He didn't care about Nolan anymore. Instead, he took out his camera, planned to use the last photo. Record this unforgettable moment. Nolan, who was planning to escape at this time, was stopped by Anna, who suddenly appeared. He understood that the person in front of him must be possessed by a monster. He hurried downstairs and opened the storage compartment, decided to give it a go, when Anna leisurely chased after him. Nolan was gone. Next second, he appeared from behind and knocked Anna in. Then quickly grabbed the rope and closed the grid directly. Anna, who was inside, immediately screamed in pain. It didn't take long. Completely exposed its true form under constant struggle. Seeing that he couldn't hold on, the monster that possessed Anna stopped struggling, let the divine power in the grid completely reduced to ashes. Soon dying, the fire attracted the rescue team. Whether it was luck or the blessing of divine power, Nolan actually survived this fire. Out of danger, he even busy informing that there is another person in the forest. The staff quickly signaled him to rest assured. Turns out at the same time, the unconscious Samuel was also brought onto the plane. Seeing this scene, Nolan finally relieved. Looking at the prosperous city in the distance. At this moment, his heart is full of yearning for a better life in the future. But Nolan didn't know. In the last photo taken by the camera, a monster is resting on his brother's shoulder. And the monster that transformed into Anna was in the house. He didn't even see. At this time, Samuel laughed wickedly.